But, uh, guys, it is Mrs. Contrarian's birthday. So, again, not going to stay on long. Uh, but I have something quick to talk about because it's been talked about ad nauseum already. So, I'm probably not going to be adding any extra nuggets of knowledge here, but I'm going to get it off my chest. So, with no further ado, let's get into it. The Olympics is trash. The International Olympic Committee is full of shit, and they've been pretty shitty at their jobs for like the last several decades. Uh, I really stopped liking the Olympics back in 2008 when they held it in Beijing, despite all the issues with human rights and yada yada yada. Not gonna badmouth that country in which it was hosted. Just gonna say I was very disappointed in the Olympics choice of where they were having the Olympics, especially being that that country's athletes are known for cheating, especially through like means of doping and stuff like that. Back in 2021, the Summer Olympics in Tokyo, they were caught doping and then later cleared. Their gymnasts actually, and I think maybe some other competitors, but definitely it was their swimmers who have been allowed to compete again this time around. And also, it was in 2021 because of the pandemic. They obviously pushed the Olympics up a year because it was supposed to be in 2020, and Tokyo got it. Um, but yeah, they've been trash for a long time, and like I said, their decision on the Olympics has been problematic for a while. Um, and specifically right now, so in the women's boxing, they've allowed biological males to compete. So the confusion at first was that people thought they were trans. These two athletes are not trans women. They are biological males that I that have the sexual genitalia of of females. This is because they both have um, genetic disorders. I'm not sure about the Taiwanese boxer, but the Algerian boxer Imane Khelif has something called Swyer syndrome. Swyer syndrome is a rare intersex disorder in which they have complete female sexual functioning genitalia, but are genetically males, XY chromosomes. And and I'm gonna get to the comments in a second, guys. But I'm ignoring the trolls, obviously. But Swyer condition is a very extremely rare genetic disorder, and people are saying, well, Imani is a biological female but a genetic male. That doesn't make sense if you know human biology. To take people back to human biology for a second, here's the issue. And I know I'm going to repeat this probably several times on this live stream. I don't care. Sometimes you have to over communicate things. I don't have a problem with that. I've tutored, I've taught. I understand that. So, in human biology and in other species as well, not all, but in many species, including humans, sex is defined by the size of the gametes, the sexual reproductive genes, right? Large gametes equals a female, small gametes equals a male. In humans, the large gametes, you know, for females, I believe, are the what produce like the ova, right? Where in males it produces the spermatozoa. So in any case, large gametes female, small gametes male. Boom, done. Since sex has been defined, biological sex that is, we're not talking about gender. We're not talking about how people culturally. We're not talking about how people identify. We're talking about biological sex. It's been defined almost 200 years ago in scientific biology by the size of the gametes. Large gametes equals female, small gametes equals male. If you are genetically a male, you are biologically a male. End of the story. Now, how you choose to identify within your culture, completely a different subject. But the the problem with this rare genetic disorder is that the genitalia doesn't match up with the person's genetic sex. So that is extremely rare. That's called intersex. And the Swyer syndrome is a full intersex condition where because most of these rare conditions of intersex tend to not be full intersex where they actually have functioning genitalia. They tend to not be fully functioning. So it's a very rare condition. And again, the Taiwanese person has something similar, but it's not Swyer syndrome as far as we know. But they do have some sort of DSD or developmental sexual disorder. These are very rare. Like I said, there's two or three of these disorders, and the rest of them are caused by genetic mutations. Okay, so they should not have been allowed to compete as women. I'm not saying they shouldn't have been allowed to compete. They're athletes. They should be allowed to compete, just not with women. They both failed their their test to gender test or whatever because they were displaying extremely high levels of testosterone, which meant they should have been competing against men within their same weight class, not with women, because again they are genetically males, which means biologically they are males, despite the hiccup with their intersexual condition with their sexual organs. Again, sex is defined by the gametes in human biology. Large gametes, female. Small gametes, male. They're genetically male, so ergo, they are males. All right, let me get to the comments because I know I got a few. And again, I'm going to ignore the trolly ones. Charles says, Wagwan, blood. Wagwan, brethren. What's up, Charles? Dinner with Jay-Z or dinner at Diddy's. I don't give a fuck. It has nothing to do with my topic. Put it in the super chat if you want me to answer questions not related to the topic. And Cody's going on timeout because he's retarded. Um, yeah, so anyway, I guess you can kind of say end of the story. But yeah, let's dig in more to it, right? So again, like I said, I'm not saying either boxer should be disallowed from competing, but they shouldn't have been allowed to compete with women. Imane Khelif was banned from the International Boxing Association before being allowed to compete in the Olympics because she was expressing high levels of testosterone, which might not have even been natural. That could have been if that could have been through also that person using some anabolic supplements, right? And but I don't know if that was the case because who would take anabolic, supplements, androgens, that is male hormones, at a time when they know they have to be tested, not to mention that they're supposed to be presenting as a female, um, which means that was probably that person's own natural androgens in their body because genetically they're a male, which, like I said, biologically they're a male too. They just happen to have a twat. But when you look at Imane Khalif, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna be completely blunt. She looks like Xerxes from 300. All all this person would need would be all the facial piercings, and like some bronze makeup, and Imani Khalif would look like Xerxes from 300. So, dude, that song, "Dude Looks Like a Lady." No, lady looks like a dude. So does Lin Yu-ting. Lin Yu-ting is a Taiwanese boxer. Again, looks completely like a dude, just a small dude. She should be competing with other biological males, regardless if they identify as women because they have vaginas. It doesn't matter. Genetically, they're males. If you're genetically a male, you're still a male, even if you don't have a penis. I'm sorry. You just happen to be intersex. And again, I don't know if Lin Yu Ting is fully intersex like Imani Khalif is. Imani Khalif is a is fully intersex because of that condition she has called Swyer syndrome. And look at me, I'm being nice and actually respecting their pronouns. if Which I don't even know they care about because they both come from countries that aren't obsessed about that. Well, Taiwan is a little bit. Taiwan is very liberal, especially in East Asia. Like they're the first East Asian country to allow homosexual marriage, same sex marriage in all of East Asia. Maybe all of Asia, for all I know, but definitely all of East Asia. But in any case, both of them are intersex, and because they have, like I said, the 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 proper term for it is DSD, developmental sexual disorders. Um, so again, physically they're female. Physically they're females because of their genitalia, but they're both genetically males. And as I stated before, because in human biology, sex is not defined, biological sex is not defined by the genitals, but by uh, our sexual genes, our gametes. If genetically you are a male, then you're just a male. You're just kind of effed up because you don't have male genitalia. So you're intersex. But for people saying that this proves that biological sex isn't binary, no, it doesn't. This is the exceptions that prove the rule because these are extremely rare conditions. First of all, intersex is rare within humans, and fully intersex persons are even more rare. Like most cases of intersex are only like partial intersex, where they have like partial genitalia of one sex with while the internal organs are of the other, and usually they're non-functioning. Where they are functioning, meaning they're fully intersex, is very rare. Put it this way, it's just like as biological sex is both the binary and fixed, meaning you can't change it because it's genetic. Just like that, is we know that when you flip a coin, it's either heads or tails. It's binary. However, there are a very rare probabilistic situations where it won't be heads or tails. It'll fall on the edge of the coin. That is so rare, so extremely rare that we ignore it because it rarely ever happens. This is why we say heads or tails. We don't say head, tails, or edge. This is for the same reason in biological sex for humans. We say sex is binary and fixed. We don't say male, female, and intersex because intersex is a very extremely rare condition within human beings. So we just ignore those exceptions. And to put my own business out there, so I have a rare genetic disorder, a metabolic genetic disorder, not a sexual, not a sexual genetic disorder, a metabolic genetic disorder called phenylketonuria, or PKU for short. I've mentioned this before. With people with classical PKU, I don't have classical PKU. I have a moderate form called hyperphenylalanemia, which just means I show elevated levels of phenylalanine in my blood, but not the classical PKU. In classical PKU, you cannot digest the essential amino acid phenylalanine that come this in basically all dietary protein. So kids before this disorder was discovered in the mid 70s would, um, if it wasn't caught at the infant stage, then they would develop severe mental retardation. And I'm not going to use that word again because even though I'm using it in the clinical sense, which is still how it's used today, by the way, it can still be one of those words that get you demonetized. So it will lead to a severe cognitive disability in people diagnosed with it. It used to be called, I think, Felling's disease, named after the doctor who discovered it, and then was later renamed phenylketonuria. It's called ketonuria because you could see it in a person's urine samples, the ketones. Yes, you can actually measure people's amount of unused protein in their urine, and you'll see a lot of it in people who use protein supplements. But that's a that's a story for another day. In any case, so these kids would go on to have these severe cognitive disabilities and would eventually die of this disorder. But since it started being caught in the early 70s, they will put these kids on an extreme diet. Why am I saying this? I'm saying all that to say that we wouldn't then go from this rare disorder and say that, you know, well, some humans don't, some humans don't need protein. No, all humans need protein. It's just that these rare folks have to eat a special type of food to replace their dietary protein. Okay, so kind of the same thing. We don't define humanity by the exceptions to our law like generalizations of human biology. We define them by those law like generalizations of human biology and human psychology as well. But we don't define people by the we don't define humanity by the exceptions. We define them by the generalizations. So off my soapbox. Let me get back to the comments. If there are any. If there are none, that's fine. I can get off because it's late. Yeah, I don't see many. Good for me. I won't stay on for too long. Sorry, guys. I'm thirsty and it's very hot. We have to fix our AC. It's been on the fritz. It went from nice and chilly to actually kicking out heat. Yes, it flipped to heat in the summer and like during this heat wave on the East Coast, it flipped to heat. So I ran one day, and I think that was the day I ran 12 kilometers, which was like 3 days ago, and couldn't stop sweating because the heat was on in the house. So it didn't kick off until I didn't cool off until I actually left the house and went somewhere else to cool off. Sinker, I'm not a Kamala voter, so you're way off base. Why don't you suck a dick and get off my channel? What's up, Moonlit Fern? Yeah, it's late for me too, buddy. I'm about to bounce actually, but I was just talking about why the problem with the the two so-called female boxers that's been beating up actual women in the Paris Olympics, and I basically said these two people are dudes. I said hello from Moscow, brother. I want to wish you all the best. God bless you and all your family and friends. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot. Mullen Fern says Kamala more like Shamala. Right. I don't know where this dude gets off thinking I'm uh, a, Kam- a Kamala Harris voter. It's like obviously this person has never checked out my channel because it's funny when people make assumptions about me, and I've put out all my political and personal beliefs on this channel. So anyone who's ever rocked with me and watched my content knows exactly where I stand on most issues. Because I didn't watch the Olympics for that reason, right? Then you got the world famous gangbanger Snoop Dogg carrying the torch, and I'm not hating. I'm just saying, hey, that was a come up for the Crips. Like this torch, cuz. So, but then didn't they have some sort of weird opening that was like all like Caligula like so Slava from Ukraine. Is that your name, Sunny G Slava? Because I actually have a friend named Slava. I actually have a friend named Sava and a friend named Slava, two different people. One is Russian and the other one is oh god, I can't remember where he's from. But both of them are cool. The Russian is actually a Russian Jewish guy. He's actually now living in Israel. He was having some substance abuse problems when I knew him, and so he went back to Israel and got some help, and is seemingly doing pretty well right now over there. He's a cool dude. Um, then the other guy, Sava, he's like an IT guy, but he also worked like part time at like I think like Chick-fil-A or something like that. Really cool. He probably had to like work like that because he has a bit of an accent. He's really laid back. Like all the folks I met, they're like from Eastern Europe or come from like a Slavic background that have moved here have always been like really laid back and cool. Mullen Friend said, yeah, it's ridiculous. Oh, Sonny G says, no, Slava means glory. Okay. So maybe that's why they named him that then. So I don't know. But in any case, Yeah, guys. So I'm talking about the Paris Olympics and why it's trash. And like I said, I think the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, has been they've been on their bullshit for a long time. Oh, considering the attacks on Ukraine. Gotcha. Um, but um, where was I? So yeah, like I'll explain it again since I have more people in the audience. Did any can you guys just let me know? Did anyone hear the stuff that I said originally about 5-10 minutes ago? If not, I'm gonna repeat it for everyone. I don't have a problem with that. Just want to know if any of you heard my diatribe like 10 minutes ago. Anybody? You did hear it? Okay, cool. Moonlit Fern, did you hear what I was saying earlier before when you popped in? Just not typing. So I think it's a sham that just the publicity stunt. The Olympics have been strange. Yeah, like I said, I haven't really been rocking with the Olympics since 2008. Like I said, when they held it in Beijing, I felt they oversaw they over not oversaw. I'm sorry, they overlooked a lot of issues with leaving it there. But also, I've also found out that there's a lot of places that don't want to host the Summer Olympics anymore because it's sort of a it's sort of a nightmare for these cities when they host it. Uh, Moonlit Fern says, "I don't, but just go on if you wish. Um, if the chat heard it, I can rewatch the stream. Yeah, I don't mind repeating it. Like I even actually said that before I started it. I said I'm probably gonna have to repeat this, but I don't have a problem repeating it because I would expect it. How is your grandma? She's doing all right. She's in the bedroom next door. My cousin and her husband are actually currently here too as well. So there's plenty of us in the house now to help out. Only thing we're complaining about is that the AC unit is completely messed up. So we got someone coming in tomorrow. They had originally told my grandmother they weren't coming until September, and I was like, yeah, that's not good. My mother and I was like, nah, that's not cool. Like, you're not making her wait till September when the AC isn't working now. Like, she has a she's in her 80s and she has an existing health condition. She can't. Not gonna tell her we're not gonna fix your AC for like another month or two. Besides that, I found out she has an unlimited service plan with this energy company, Constellation. To their credit, um, to their credit, when I spoke with their customer service person, she was very responsive. Said, "Well, we'll bring someone out tomorrow." I should have asked them to come out today, but they was like, "Yeah, we'll have someone come out tomorrow." Sorry about that. And very cool and understanding. So yeah, September, right? Like what? Didn't even say what part of September. Like early September when it's still summer, or late September when it becomes fall and don't really need it anymore. Nah, man. Like like I said, the AC. So 3 days ago, it was actually kicking out heat instead of cool air. It was kicking out heat, so it's making it even worse inside than it was outside. Um, and so I had just ran, and I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop sweating until like I actually left and went out. I think I went to the gym or somewhere else, and it felt better there because like I said, I couldn't even cool off in here. It was that bad. And now it just completely stopped working altogether. I'm like, oh no, we can't do this because this is a heat wave right now. It was like 90 something earlier outside, and it was almost that hot on the inside. Plus, it was stuffy because the windows are old, so she doesn't have any of the windows open. So it's like, now we gotta get these windows open. We gotta get something going because there gotta be some air circulating. But anyway, so let me get back to what I was saying, guys. So you guys are gonna hear a lot of stuff, like I said, about the the, the women's boxing event in the Olympics and about Imane Khelif, the Algerian so-called female boxer, and Lin Yu-ting, the Taiwanese boxer, who's also supposedly female. What I was saying is these both of these people are genetically males. They both have some sort of DSD or developmental sexual disorder, but I don't know what the Taiwanese person's disorder is. But they've already shared what Imani Khalif's disorder is, which is allegedly she has Swyer syndrome. It's a very rare genetic condition which makes someone a complete intersex. Intersex means you you have the external genitalia of one sex where the internal organs are of another. But usually it's only partial intersex because they're non-functioning, and it's usually more one of the or of the other. Full intersex means they have both the full external genitalia of one sex while the working internal reproductive organs of another. Um, so some people have gone to say, well, she's biologically a female and genetically a male. That's not the case because in human biology, sex is never, since they made the whole sub domain of sexual biology within the biological sciences, there has never been a point where biological sex was defined by the genitals. It was defined by the gametes, and and not only in humans, this is in several other species as well. Biological sex has always been defined by the gametes, and in humans, it's only there's two gametes, so sex is binary. If you have large gametes, you are a female. If you have small gametes, you are a male. Those those gametes in humans are the ova for uh, you know give us the ova for women or females. Sorry, give us the you get the ova cells the for females, and you get the spermatozoa for males, right? Um, and both, like I said, both of these boxers have XY chromosomes. They're both genetically males, which ergo means they're biological males. They don't have the genitalia of males, though, but they're still genetically female, so they're still, I mean, excuse me, genetically male, so they're still dudes. They just don't have dicks. They're males without dicks. Um, and I'm gonna get back to the comments in a second. I just want to finish this diatribe. Um, so the other case was Imani. I don't know about Lin Yu-ting, the Taiwanese boxer, but Imani Khalif was already banned by the International Boxing Association because she kept failing the the hormone test, showing that she had way too high levels of testosterone. Lin Yu-ting, same thing. I don't know if she was banned from the International Boxing Association, but she was disallowed to compete in something else before as well because of elevated testosterone levels. And the thing is, I get it. They're athletes. They should be allowed to compete. I completely agree with that. However, they shouldn't be allowed to compete with biological females. They should only be allowed to compete with biological males because they are showing elevated levels of testosterone, levels that men have, that not just average men, that men like professional athletic men have, because that's which is more than the average man's level of testosterone. They shouldn't have never been allowed to compete against women. I mean, in the last fight, Imani Khalif beat this person in 46 seconds. In 46 seconds, because after she threw a cross at the woman, it it hurt that girl so hard. She was like, I can't do this. She literally cries, I can't do this. It's too tough. Like we're watching like at this point we're just watching domestic abuse. It's like we're just watching a domestic abuse boxing. That's what we're watching at this point. So it, it it doesn't make sense for them to compete against natural women. We can call it whatever we want. I'm just going to be blunt. They shouldn't be allowed to compete against natural women. I understand that they feel that they're women because they still have female genitalia, but they are genetically males, which means they are males. That's how I see it. And they have the strength, they have the strength, the durability, and the stamina and the testosterone levels of men. So it's just unfair. Like it's to the point that jokes that you would have saw in South Park 5 years ago have turned true. Like these were literally just jokes on South Park just 5 years ago. They complete they have become completely true. And so, like I said, I've overstepped the whole gender versus blah 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 talk about gender identity and about what defines biological sex, because a lot of these little people with their little gender studies degrees, which is a completely useless 4 year degree, by the way, will try to confuse you by talking about all these issues with gender and that gender is just a social construct. I've already I've already answered that in a previous live stream, by the way. But in any case, we don't have to go there with this gender social construct thing. We're talking about biological sex. And then they try to assume that most people are scientifically illiterate on that sort of thing. And to their point, yes, a lot of people are scientifically illiterate, whether it comes to physics, biology, chemistry, etc. But you know, my degree in psychology was actually biopsychology. So I've taken these things. I've taken these classes. So I know that in biology, how sex is actually defined by the gametes. So this has been the case for almost 200 years now. It hasn't changed, but they'll try to confuse people who don't know any better. So back, let me get back to the comments. My friend says, yeah, it can run out of coolant, or there's a leak, or that plug thing in the unit needs a replacement. Plus, they'll clean the whole thing. Yeah, so she has free service calls, so they're coming out, so they're gonna do whatever. The customer service person thinks that the core is frozen. I'm not sure if that's the case. One of the friends is like hermaphrodite, or is this a poor excuse to get men in women's sports and vice versa? Steroids and testosterone therapy give the alphabet community an advantage. Men should not be in women's sports, vice versa. Agreed. So, yeah. So I think intersex is probably the more up to date term for hermaphrodite. I think, because I don't think they say I don't I don't think they use the term hermaphrodite in like biology anymore. I think I think intersex is like the term they use in place of that. But yeah, that they both are somewhat intersex, and they have, like I said, these developmental sexual disorders, or DSD. But I don't know what Lin Yu-ting's disorder is. I only know what they were reporting Imane Khelif's alleged condition was, which was Swyer syndrome, which is extremely rare. Which is why I said you can't sit there and say that the person is biologically female while genetically male, because that doesn't make sense, since genetically, if you're a male, then biologically you're a male by definition of what defines sex, which is the sexual genes. So uh, I don't know why they hid that, but I just made it public. I don't know why that was hidden though. Moment Friend says controversial opinion. They should have their own subgenre of competing. Women and men are different when it comes to bone structure and physicality. I don't think women should fight men. So yeah, that has been the other suggestion. I just think a lot of sports leagues are too lazy to do it, which is they could literally start a non-binary. They could start a third gender non-binary transgender division. So instead of there being two divisions, there'll be three divisions from now on: men's, women's, and non-binary, trans, third gender, whatever. They all fit into that category. Now, like I said, you're in Thailand only firm, so you know in Muay Thai how they do it is that if someone presents as non-binary or third gender, they can compete, but they just have to compete within their biological sex. So if you are a biological male but you present as a woman, you still have to compete against biological men in Muay Thai, and vice versa. If you are a biological female but you present as a man, you still have to compete against uh, biological females, not you know not males. So that's how they handle it in Muay Thai, at least in Thailand. I don't know about they do it differently here on the American rules, which to me don't count anyway. But only for instance, make a separate Olympics or company where if that audience wants it, by all means go for it. Or or it could the third division could so like I said, the third division could either be non-binary, third gender, or it could be just open. It could be so that could be the second option. Either make a third division where it's non-binary and third gender, or they can make a third division which is open, which is men can compete against men. I mean, men can compete against women. Men can compete against women can compete against men. Men can compete against non-binary, transgender, yada 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 yada. They so it seems the way to get around this is they just need to stop being lazy, and all these professional sports leagues need to just start a third division. And flip side says, and they should let the freaks do the slap contest. Have you seen the slap fight nonsense, idiots? I have seen it. It's good for laughs, but I just can't take it seriously as a sport. To be honest, I can't take it seriously as a sport because it seems like it's more just about who can who can withstand who has the better pain tolerance. That's what it seems it comes down to me. It's just who has better pain tolerance. That's not Whereas pain tolerance is definitely a good part of combat sports. That shouldn't be the only thing. Like it is pretty silly. I agree. Teresa Thomas racist. That female Italian boxer took two hits. That one in blue was a guy. Yeah, this is what we're talking about, Teresa. Mullen Fern says, "Yep, you're right, and I think that's fair." Yeah, I said they should just start a third division, make it non-binary, third gender, or make an open division where everyone can compete against everyone, regardless of how they identify. Teresa says, "Why aren't women who think they're men compete in men's sports? Only men that are last in their sports fields can only beat women." Yes, this is Teresa. You're spot on. Like this has been something that's been brought up many times, which is why don't we see it going the other way around? We don't see trans women or women who are intersex competing against biological men, biological males, right? We only seeing it going the other way with biological males competing as women, and we know why. We all know why. It's just not politically advantageous to say that these people are fugazi and that they're using their obvious male advantages of being stronger, quicker, more durable, having more stamina, and more bone density than the average woman to compete against them. Flip side says maybe if they smack each other around for seasons, it will smack some sense into them so they can figure out what a woman is. I doubt it. I doubt it. Um, MUK sent a Senanayaki. Hope I didn't butcher your name too badly. If so, I apologize. Says hi, good morning. I'm from Sri Lanka. What's up, MUK? Football Global says my boy Wagwan. Chilling. Football Global Wagwan. Just passing through. Mullet Fern says, I'm glad my girl can't hear you. She would love to talk about this. She shares my opinion about it, but she's like strong headed where I try more not to think of it. Football Global says the real Olympics has started. Jamaica is competing. No disrespect to the rest of the world. Politics, wars, Twitter, I don't care. LOL, sports over everything. I hear you. Like I said, I haven't really been watching the Olympics. The most I've watched Olympics was actually today while I was at the sports bar. And it was mostly the biking. I don't know what they called it. The I forgot what they called it back in the day, or what they still call it, cross right cross racing, cross biking, whatever it was. It was pretty cool. Like these guys did like the whole course within like 31.9 seconds. I forgot what they called it. Is it BMX? The cross games. Like it didn't it was just like them, they do the vroom, 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 then turn, and it was done. It was like they were showing that, and I think on another station they were showing volleyball, women's volleyball. It was like none of the interesting events, honestly. The interesting events are gymnastics, boxing, track and field, um, and basketball. Oh no, they did have on basketball too. It was the Canadian basketball is actually dominating right now, and I think they went to the quarterfinals. And again, guys, I don't watch sports, so but yeah, it was showing. It was basketball at first, and they were dominating. Then they showed the bikers, and then on another channel they had volleyball. He said, "Sorry, we're not watching that in Caribbean." Respectfully, yeah, I don't blame you. Like I said, I wasn't. It was just on in the sports bar. It was something. It wasn't something I was really watching, but I like gymnastics though. Gymnastics is the shit. Ever since Mary Lou, what was her name? Back in the '80s, Mary Lou, whatever her name was, she was really good, and she was on the Wheaties box. I've always loved gymnastics. And then, like, living in Maryland, I ran into Dominique Dawes a number of times. I used to have a huge crush on her. She was so cute. That's when I was into like black women. I thought Dominique Dawes was very cute. We ended up even going both to University of Maryland together. Both of them, it was her and the guy who won the silver in the U.S. Olympics at the time. Both of them were going to University of Maryland at that time when I was going. And like I never approached her on campus because I didn't want her to think I was just like some little groupie fan. But I used to just look at her like crushing on her. Like I remember even seeing her in Chipotle. She was, when Chipotle first opened. This is like 2000, 2001. First opened on campus. She was there. We were all in line, and everyone was like, "Oh God, oh my God, it's Dominique Dawes." And she was really humble about it. So yeah, Mary Lou Retton. That's right. Thank you, Flipside. He said you don't watch sports, can't trust you. Well, to be fair, Football Globe, I don't watch sports because I perform sports. You know, I do long distance running every day, and I do martial arts. And then I watch when I do watch sports. I tend to watch combat sports. I watch usually boxing, Muay Thai, and MMA on TV when I catch it. But I don't like watching sports on TV because it's boring. Now watching it live is fun. Like there was a Baltimore Orioles game against the Cleveland Guardians. By the way, no one told me the Cleveland Indians changed their names to the Cleveland Guardians. but that was on. I like baseball games. My grandfather was in the minor league, played in the minor leagues when he was alive. So I've always loved baseball. So, but again, watching it on TV is just boring. Going to actually see games live is fun. Even football, and I don't even like football, but I'll watch it live. Like someone asked me, "Hey, you want to go to a Ravens game?" I'll say yes. But I like baseball better. Only for instance, love women's volleyball. Here, I went to college with some of Thailand's best, so my girl makes me watch it, and it's fun. Yeah, because they're come on, they're like practically naked. Of course, it's fun to watch them. Camel toeing it up. Maybe stop. Sit down on some perv stuff. Just awesome how the fans are loyal to their country. True, but again, they look good. So some of the I don't know about the Thai women, but like here, those volleyball women be like buff, like they're like sexy and buff at the same time. It's weird, like because they don't look like female volleyball players don't look as manly as female basketball players. Like female basketball players look kind of masculine. Volleyball players are muscular, but they still seem more feminine than the female basketball players. Football Global says stalking here. LOL. Because I've been to Baltimore, Arundel Mills. Okay. I mean, Arundel Mills isn't that great, but it's not bad. It was better like when it first opened. And the theater is so small. The movie co. One of the friends says the mixed girl that was Khaleesi's side in Game of Thrones that got beheaded by the mountain. She's beautiful. Yeah, and she's in a new TV show. Uh, I think it's on Peacock. I forgot, but she's on a new show. She is. She's pretty. And Football Globe says thanks for the clarification. Trust restored. And Flipside said that name change is GAY. Right. Like I didn't even know. I didn't even notice till it said Guardians. I'm like Guardians. What the hell? And it's like, all right. Every time I get they want to change their name so it's less racially offensive to Native, Indigenous people. I completely agree with that because I've been saying that the Washington team needed to change their name for like I've been saying that for like the last 25 years. But when they do, they pick a whack name. The Commanders. The Commanders. You could have chose a better name than the Commanders. I mean, we're in it's in Washington D.C. Well, technically the stadium isn't. It's in Prince George's County, Maryland, but again, it's in the D.C. metro area. You couldn't think of anything that aligned with that other than the the, the Commanders. Just like their baseball team is called the Nationals or the Nats for short. That's corny. The Nationals, the DC Nationals, or Washington Nationals, Washington Commanders. Now Cleveland has the Guardians. Like all the history of Cleveland for the last 300 years, you couldn't think of something better than Guardians. Like Guardians, that sounds like Space Force. Mullen Fern says, off topic, most Native Americans don't care. It's the ones trying to act important, far left leaning Indian or Seminole. It's not a bad word. Redskin is, but no one cares. Yeah, so I know Redskin is definitely a bad word. I've been schooled on that. But again, you're right. Most of the native folk that I spoke to that hated it were like more of the I don't know the bougie. I don't know if native folks say bougie, but they were more like the the bougie Indians. Cause like I had a native friend in high school, and dude used to always rock his Washington Redskins hat at school. Like he wore it for the very fact that it was a Indian representation thing. And so, the previous owner of the Washington team had always said that no, I actually have a lot of Indians that support the name of this of the the name and logo of the team. And I used to always think he was lying, but I was like, no, he does have a point. Because like I said, my homeboy. By the way, I didn't even know he was an indigenous person until someone asked him in school. Because I just assumed he was Latino actually, and someone was asking him in class, and I was like, "Come on, guys, why y'all even care?" I said, "Who cares what he is?" He was like, "No, he was like, I'm Native American, duh." He's like, "Why you think I'm always wearing the?" He said, "Why you think I'm always wearing the Washington Redskins starter jacket and hat?" That shows you how long time ago that was. The starter jackets. That's like early '90s. But yeah, he's like, "Why you think I'm always wearing the Washington Redskins starter jacket?" He said, "Cause I'm Indian." It is funny because I think his mom is white. I'm not. I think, but his father is FBI, full blooded Indian. Like I remember he gave me a ride home from school one day with with my homeboy Desmond, and his father was straight up, just straight up like indigenous. Like he had the long hair, he had the pickup truck, and this is in Baltimore, so it was no mistaking it. All right, that was a tangent. But anyway, Football Global says female volleyball players are very feminine. I agree. Like I said, unlike female basketball players, female volleyball players are very feminine. And I remember crushing on one of them in college. She was very cute. She was tall. She was like taller than me, I think, because I think she was like 6 foot. But she was she was cute. Emphasizes men of culture again. We meet. Football Global says she's gorgeous. Fuddruckers Pool Palace is back. He says, yo. Um, Mullen Fern says, but that aside, no Native Americans care. Speaking as one, they the far left. Um, they're the far left to me. Look at me, people. I get you. I get it. Because, like I said, one of my friends, like, she was like head of uh, the the Native American Student Association on my campus. She was hot though. She I think she was a mixture of stuff. Like she wasn't full blooded indigenous either, but she was part of the tribe from where Pocahontas came from, the Power Powhatan tribe. I don't know if they are now, but back then when we were in college, they weren't a federally recognized tribe yet. They might be now because there's way more federally recognized tribes today than there are back 20 years ago. Back then, there was like maybe like 563 federally recognized tribes. Now there's like 580 something or 590 something. So they might actually be recognized as a by the federal government now, which means they get those financial benefits. Fred Rucker says, "What hot takes will be taken tonight, my guy?" So I guess you didn't see the heading. So the my thing, I'm saying that the two female boxers are just dudes, um, and the reason I say so is because they're both genetically males. So if you're genetically male, you're just a male, regardless of if you still have female genitalia. Moon for instance, again, all our choppers are named after Native American culture. Yep, the Apache, Tomahawk. No one should be crying about that. Cleveland should never have changed. But there have been people that complain about the Apache and Tomahawk choppers. There are people saying that was culturally insensitive to be named to name the choppers after these native groups, being that the U.S. government fought against the Indians in the Indian Wars that lasted from like the 1600s to the end of the 1800s. So a lot of people said we shouldn't name stuff after the people that we fought against and killed, but it's not that cut and dry, right? Because natives have fought for and against us since the beginning of America. Fuddruckers, pool palaces, bro. We could have been the Spiders in Cleveland. That's what we were for a long time. Cleveland Spiders. That's better than Guardians. That's definitely better than Guardians. Like just like I said, Guardians just sounds so bland and blasé. Like they could have done better than that. Just like Washington could have done better than Commanders. Only for instance, exactly wearing the logo takes the power out of the word, right? Like I said, if Native folks wanted to reclaim that image and that word for themselves by rocking the um the Washington, like all the Washington like merch, I don't see a problem with it. But it was mostly political pressure from people who weren't natives that forced Dan Snyder, I think that was his name, Dan Snyder, to change the name. Far Pool Palace is also American Indians more accepting a lot of those cultures than Native American. Oh, that's absolutely true. That's why the Smithsonian Museum is called the Smithsonian Museum of the American Indians, not Native Americans. Do most of them do com- uh, prefer American Indian? It's completely different up in Canada. In Canada, saying Indian is more offensive for them. They prefer Native and Indigenous um, than American Indian. But in the continental U.S., American Indians preferred, but by the people in Canada, they prefer saying Native or Indigenous. So, Emily, for instance, LOL starter jacket, windbreakers, the wind never stood a chance. And yeah, my real father is like that too. Miss Needle says, "Good evening, everyone." What's up, Miss Needle? Fuddruckers says, "Yo, is it controversial to love them tall ass chicks? High as F?" No, not at all. It's just I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a tall drink of water. So I remember when I had a friend over a long time ago, when I was living with my friends, and they saw how tall she was. Like one dude, like literally looked up like this. He was like, "Yo, Amon, you just he said, you kind of got a tall drink of water right there, huh?" I was like, "Man, we all the same size horizontally." So, but she and I never, got that far. Blame Dirty says they named them that out of a show of respect. Sometimes it might have been respect. Sometimes it could have been otherwise. I know the offensive thing with the Cleveland Indians formerly was the tomahawk chop. They were like, oh, they all do the tomahawk chop. That was kind of offensive. I'm not gonna lie. That was kind of offensive. It was cool, but that was the tomahawk chop. That was definitely like pretty offensive. Flip side says choppers. Get to the chopper. Do it now. Get to the chopper. Moonlit Furnace is way better than Guardians, and yeah, I was typing fast. Yes, why I said chopper instead of equipment and or missiles and helicopters. Flip side, but he said, "Yep, Micmacs, which is what I am, tend to prefer First Nations people, but I don't care at all." Okay, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, because this girl, she thought I was trying to be mean. I wasn't, because I was saying, because I was telling about American Indians here. She was like, "Oh, that's." She's like, "That's racist. Why would you say that?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "That's actually what they prefer to be called here." And she was like, "You're so wrong. You're being rude." I'm like, "Huh?" I'm like, "How?" I was like, "That's literally." how they prefer being called here. I was like, I don't know about Canada. Like she was a Canadian native chick, so Molly for instance, taller women sounds fun. Yeah, sometimes, but I don't want to. I wouldn't want to be like in a relationship with one. I mean, I would have fun with them, but that's about it. Miss Nita says Moonlit lied to guys say they like small petite women though. I prefer small petite women, Miss Needle. As you see, this is contrarian, much smaller than me. Bling says I understand the chop thing. Mullen Fern says Miss Needle, 8 billion people on the planet don't think all men are like the American typical Starbucks kids, you know. I can't stand petite, like stepping with a sleeping with a pillow filled with deer antlers. Moonlit Fern, I mean not Moonlit Fern. I'm sorry, Miss Needle. Are you a petite woman or taller? A lot of the German women I met tended to be taller. Well, taller than the average American woman, at least. As a matter of fact, I remember when I was in the army, like we were at the club and we were dancing with these girls, and the tall German chick wanted me because my friend was short. So her friend was actually saying, "Do you want to switch? My friend wants to dance with you." And I'm like, "No, I want you." So she's like, "Okay, okay." But I mean, could have had both. I could have finessed it. I don't know. Fuddrucker says, I will say as a native Clevelander, the Guardians is an homage to the Guardians of Traffic statues, which led directly to Progressive Field, Jacobs Field. Look the statues up; they're pretty cool. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. I That's why I was wondering where the term Guardians came from. Like I just didn't know where it came from. So, are most people accepting of the change to the Guardians though? Because the Cleveland Indians had such a large legacy. I was wondering how that went down. Like if there was as much, like you know, a lot of ballyhooing about it as it was in the Washington Metro when they switched from Redskins to Nationals. Uh, for the record, says I think the name change wasn't necessary though, but still the name doesn't mean nothing to us. Anita says I'd say a bit taller. Okay. Only for instance, by petite, I meant skinny. My girl is thick. Okay. I thought you meant height. Short is fine. I thought you meant skinny, blonde, bimbo. Sound like tan and thick body. No. I meant like in height, not in like width. Which average American women's height? Um, Let me see. So the average American man's height is 5'9". The woman is. Does anyone know? I don't know offhand. I don't want to. I don't want to just guess. Um, because I want to say like I don't know. I want to say 5'5", but I'm not sure because I know the average American man's height is 5'9". So I'm not sure what the average woman's height is in America. I think it's 5'5", but I'm not sure. Miss Nita says moonlit. I meant small as of height or shorter. Fuddrucker says, "LOL." You know they're not. I don't even like it, even though I know the history, but it didn't come out of nowhere. Okay, got you. Blame Dirty says all sizes in America. Miss Needle, 5'3". I don't think it's 5'3", Moonlit Fern. I think it's a little taller than that. I think it's like five. I think it's maybe one of you can look it up, but I think it's 5'5". Miss Needle says then I'm taller. Yeah. Um, okay. Well, for instance, I assume 5'3". Blame says it doesn't matter to me. Hey, I'm taller than all that, so I'm good. As long as I stand taller than my woman, I'm good. Like, how you gonna be putting your foot down? You gotta look up at her. Like, look here. I showed you before. You gonna be cooking me them yams before I hit them yams. No, no. I'm joking. Oh, I ran out of my music, guys. Oh well. But um, uh, but yeah, German women were cute, by the way. When like, I mean, like I said, it's a long history between American black men and European women, specifically Germany, because like when we went there, you know, for the military, there was always this appreciation for us. This is a tangent, and I'm gonna get back to the boxers. But yeah, like I said, I remember the first night we were in Germany when I was still in the army. We went to a night. We went to sort of like a bar. It was like a sort of a bar nightclub thing, and we were just chilling. And this German guy came up to me. He was like, "Hi, excuse me." He was like, "I, I don't mean to." He said, "I just wanted to ask you if you mind dancing with my girlfriend." He's like, "She's really into black guys." I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "Sure, that's cool." And I'm thinking like, how far is this gonna go? Because you know, so. But yeah, no, they were cool about it. She was like all smiling and blushing at me or whatever. I'm like, all right, cool. But anyway, I think all like a lot of American dudes should probably visit Germany at some point. Miss Nina says, "Oh, there's some dark history regarding the American Army and German women." I'm talking about World War II, but of later days, I don't know. Oh yeah, I'm well aware of it. Um, there's been movies showing how inappropriate sometimes military personnel has been uh, with women and while they were you know in the field overseas. So freedom babies. He said, "Bro, you cut the German dude." Not really. He came up to me. I didn't come up to him. Like I'm literally just chilling, minding my business, and he comes up to me and says, "Hi, would you like to dance with my girlfriend? She really loves black guys." I'm like, "All right." So I didn't smash her or anything. So in case you're wondering, it didn't go that far. I was a gentleman. But I mean, she was literally like just all smiles the whole time. So made her day. Miss Neal says, "Yeah, atrocities on all sides." Yeah, like the firebombing of Dresden, right? We don't need to go into those awful histories, but Blame Dirty says, "What's going on with the boxing? I haven't been watching, so you're not familiar. So bless you for not seeing your social media for the last 3, 4, 5 days, showing this genetically male boxer who presents as a woman beating the shit out of beat the shit out of actual female boxers. And it's been two of them. One an Algerian guy and the other a Taiwanese guy. Well, I'm sorry, a, an Algerian woman and a Taiwanese woman, but they're both genetically males. They both suffer from developmental sexual disorders. One of them the Algerian Imane Khelif has something called Swire syndrome, which leads her to be fully intersex, which means she has the genitalia and the reproductive organs of a female, but is genetically a male and has been formally banned out of the International Boxing Association for having extremely high levels of testosterone. Same thing with the Taiwanese boxer. She is also has some sort of developmental sexual disorder, but they haven't said what she has, unlike Imani, who has Swire syndrome. But this person also is a genetically a male while having female genitalia, and so is also intersex, but may not be fully intersex like Imani is. Um, and also has been formally banned from other boxing events for having extremely high levels of testosterone. They both look like males. Like Imani Khalif, to me, literally looks like the actor who plays Xerxes in 300. Like all you have to do is put some bronze on her and give her the piercings, and she'd be like, "I will make you all my chief of Europa. All you have to do is but bend the knee to me." Let me stop. That's what that dude looks like. I'm sorry. Fun Record says, "Can we talk about that Turkish dude who was clearly a hitman prior to the Olympics?" Right, right. That dude. He was definitely like shooting like he was part of the Turkish mob. Like he was. Plus, he had great aim. Like for those who don't know, it's better to aim using with both eyes open instead of just doing it like this. Like which is good for me, by the way, because I'm left hand dominant, but I'm right eye dominant, right? So that would mess me up with my marksmanship, like trying to shoot with my right eye dominant, with my left hand dominant. So I just keep both eyes open when I'm aiming using my iron sights or whatever. Like I just use both eyes, and that's how he was shooting. And he was doing it with the one hand grip. That's what made it so fucking cool. He hit the one hand grip and just had this cool collective look on him. Like he actually he didn't get the gold. He got the silver medal, but he just looked so cool doing it. He looked like a straight up hitman. Yeah, exactly. Miss Needle says, "I don't hold any grudge against American people. You just need to find a good American man, Miss Needle." And Miller Friend says, "Taiwanese guy," quote unquote. Blame During says, "Oh, that's sad." Yeah. Miller Friend says, "Michael Obama girl." So yeah, and so the thing I talked about in the beginning of the stream was that I wasn't gonna get caught up in this gender versus biological sex game that people like to play because, like I said, unlike most people, I'm not biologically illiterate. And I know that in human biology for like almost 200 years, sex has always been defined by the size of the gametes, which makes biological sex binary and fixed because you can't switch these gametes. Like large gametes equals females and small gametes equals males. The large gametes in humans are the ova, which gives you females. The small gametes in humans gives you the spermatozoa, which gives you the males. So that's it. That's all, folks. And I was saying, yes, there are these rare genetic disorders, but we have never defined things by the exceptions to them. That doesn't make sense. For the same reason, we don't define coin flips by head, tails, and edge. We don't define humans by male, female, and intersex because intersex is such an extremely rare condition caused by either these sexual developmental disorders, which are either a few of these categorized syndromes or genetic mutations, that it wouldn't make sense to include them in a definition of human sex. For the same reason, we only say heads and tails in coin flips. We don't say coins. We don't say for coins head, tails, or edge, just because there's a very small, rare, problematic event, probabilistic event where it can actually the coin might actually land on its edge. That happens so extremely rarely that we just don't count that as part of the definition of a coin flip, heads or tails. Same thing with biological sex, male and female, binary and fixed, because again, those developmental sexual disorders are extremely rare that would cause someone to be intersex. And as far as gender, that's a cultural discussion, so that's completely something different. But I've had my thoughts on that as well that I've talked about in other live streams in the past. Truly Jefferson saying he was banned for having XY chromosomes. It wasn't the XY chromosomes because they couldn't actually test for that. Truly Jefferson, they he was banned because he had high levels of testosterone, very high level. Excuse me, she had high levels of testosterone, and people were saying, "Well, this is a person who's biologically female, why genetically male?" And I'm like, that's incoherent. If you are genetically a male, then you are biologically a male by definition of what sex means in human biology, which is defined by the size of the gametes, which are our sexual chromosomes. So there's no such thing as biologically female while genetically male. What happens is that they're intersex, so they're biological males who have female genitalia. No dingling. So moment first is so they're both on testosterone supplements or indoor injections, which literally should be banned. So yeah, so the question is that's the open question. Moment Fern is were those extreme levels of testosterone their own natural levels because they are genetically males, and as such, when they perform in high levels of physical activity, is going to boost their levels of testosterone like it does for all men. That would show why they were having extreme levels of testosterone compared to biological females, right? So I don't know if it was that or they were using androgen supplements, because I would think that they wouldn't be stupid enough to be using androgen, any sort of androgen supplements when they know they have to be tested. But people are stupid, so I don't know. But I'm thinking this is their natural levels of testosterone in their body. So for us, like I said, for us, if we were to say if we went into a women's competition and claimed to be women, and then they tested us, they did this gender hormone testing on us, and saw that we had compared to the women, we would have extreme levels of testosterone in us, especially if we're like physically active men. So the funny thing is in combat sports, when so when trans women, and by the way, these neither Lin Yu-ting nor Imane Khelif are trans women. They are actually genetic, like I said, genetic males who present as females because of this rare developmental sexual disorders they have. They're not trans, they're intersex. So, any case, for trans women though, when they compete in combat sports and take estrogen to lower their testosterone levels, it actually boosts their levels, which makes them even more dangerous to biological women. Like, because of the complexities of how biochemistry works, they actually take in like uh, female hormone supplements actually gives them an edge in combat sports against biological women, which is, like I said, why we should just ban biological males from competing against biological females, regardless of how they identify with their gender. That just makes it easier, and we should put the emphasis on these sports leagues to create a third division for these people to compete. They can either they can either make the third division a non-binary third gender division, or they can make it an open division where everybody can compete with anyone else, regardless of gender, identities, sexual, biological sex, whatever. That would make it easy. Moonlit, for instance, good impression. That's hilarious. You made me spill my vodka. My bad. My bad. Truly Jefferson says me, but I'm right hand dominant, but left eye dominant. So you, so you're exactly the reverse of me, Truly Jefferson. So you're right hand dominant, but left eye dominant. So I'm the exact opposite. Like I said, right eye dominant, but left hand dominant. So that's why it was so hard for me to qualify, get my marksmanship qualification, because I had to make up for that. Because when I showed them I was left hand dominant, they just assumed that I was also left eye dominant as well, but I wasn't. So I know I have to keep both eyes open when I shoot. Like when I'm looking down the iron sights, I need to use both eyes, not just one. When, for instance, astigmatism, we're taught to aim both eyes, but I'm better one eye, but I get smoked for that by my superior. Right. So it depends on your superior because some of them were telling us to it's better to close your eyes. But I had when one guy kept seeing how much trouble I was having qualifying with um on the range, he's like you should keep both eyes open. He said that's how I shoot. He said I find it better. He said I find it more accurate, and he was right. And he probably might have been cross eye dominant like I was, but it's definitely I think it's definitely more accurate to aim with both eyes. Flood Records says right-handed, left eye dominant over here, dude. It sucks for shooting. I know it does. That's why, like I said, we should just, for more accuracy, we should probably just aim with both eyes instead of just closing one. For some people, I guess for some people who have both, who are dominant hand and eye on the same side, it might be easier for them to close their eyes. But generally speaking, I think your aim is better if you keep both eyes open. Some people just come in here with just random, just random comments. Moonlit Friend says that bone density alone is, I feel, a reason women and men should not compete in professional athletic sports. Don't care if you identify as a damn wombat. Exactly, especially in combat sports. And combat sports is the most pronounced thing where sexual differences are going to matter. I don't like people don't the people who think this doesn't matter have just watched too many MCU movies. They've been watching too much Wonder Woman, too much Black Widow, too much too much Captain Marvel, and think that little 5 foot, some 5'6", 125 pound woman is beating up a 6'3", 220 pound man. It's no, that's not reality. That is the MCU. Blame Thursday. I learned it from someone that delivered thousands of babies. Okay. Federer says let trans people do whatever they want, but I think it's crazy not to create specific categories for trans men and women. Otherwise, you just get trans women beating the S out of cis women. True, true. Because like I said, like someone already mentioned earlier, why don't we see it going the other way around? We don't see trans men competing against biological males. We only see trans women competing against biological females because they know they have the physical advantage in doing so. But trans men don't have a physical advantage over biological males. Dude is Moonly Furnace says, dude is flowing if I don't comment because I'm stopping it from spreading. Thunderstorms. Also, they could be on high, on HGH. No, I need not to be barefoot right now. But yeah, be careful out there, man. Um, it was that super typhoon in the Philippines, just a few weeks ago. That's why my wife actually went with her travel team to the evacuation center to give out supplies to people who were left stranded because of the super typhoon that hit, and it resulted in a lot of flooding. Luckily, our place doesn't get flooded because it's on the high ground. Because we learned our lessons from Obi-Wan Kenobi to always have the high ground. But yeah, unfortunately, like a lot of these people lost their places, or or even if they didn't lose their places, because a lot of them live in these cheap hollow block houses. All their possessions were destroyed. So yeah, be careful out there. And yeah, some of them could be on HGH. I was just saying that I would think that someone who's trying to present as a woman, being that they're already like biological males, or at least genetically male, should not be taking androgens because they're going to test they're going to test for it. The Fiend 2007 says, "Have a wonderful day. Stay positive even in your darkest days." Truly Jefferson said, "I never knew I had a variance in dominance hand-eye until I went to a shooting range and couldn't hit a thing." Same thing here. Like I said, because my father wanted to actually take me out shooting when I was a kid, but he said my cousin and I got scared by large the sound of the handgun when he took us out in the field long time ago in Virginia. So he just decided not to train us on the guns. So I literally didn't get to train on the first time I like touched a firearm of any sort was when I went into basic training. So a lot of these good old boys from the country, they already had like an advantage over me. The advantage I had over other people was that I was more physically fit than some of the people in basic training. But when it came to qualifying with our rifles, I was I sucked. And like I said, being that I had that that variance in my dominance in hand and eye, that messed me up shooting. I was getting frustrated why it was taking me so long to qualify in the shooting range. Miss Nita says, "Truly Jefferson." Well, now you know. Blame Dirty says, "Right hand, right eye dominant here." You're lucky. Truly Jefferson says, "Yeah, Miss Needle, I never knew there was such a thing. Learned something new." Right. Miss Needle says, "Yeah, Jefferson, always good to learn something and improve. Maybe how to work with it." Same with Blame Dirty says, "Same with weightlifting and sports." Oh yeah, so weightlifting, combat sports, uh, track and field, almost all these things. Any sort of any sort of contact sport, men are going to have an advantage because we were literally built for war. Like we're well built. Our bodies are built for physical competition, for fighting, basically. Blame Dirty says Jacksonville, North Carolina flooded all the time. That's why you should always have a bug out bag because the two biggest reasons to you might need to bug out of your home is either floods or wildfires. So if you're somewhere where it's always flooding, should it would definitely behoove you to have a bug out bag. Mulder Furnace says, like, share, and subscribe, guys. Super chat is bottom right part of your screen. Feel free to buy a coffee or Cash App for a question. Thank you. Couldn't said it better myself. Miss Needle says, we had a bad flooding 2 years back and so many people lost their lives and property and it was a huge scandal. Where was this at, Miss Needle? Fuddrucker says, good night, y'all. Thanks for the chat. Thanks, Fuddrucker. And by the way, your name is kind of making me hungry, low key. Like, I think when I wake up, I'm just going to fix some food. Moonlit Fern says, yeah, just stop now, but my driveway is flooded and I'm going to give the street sweepers and my neighbors water and snacks now. I'll keep you on speaker. They don't speak English anyway. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, good stuff, by the way, helping out those, your neighbors. Moonlit Fern says, are you scared to fly out here? A lot of nightmare stories from turbulence lately, including Dome Dude died because his neck broke hitting the roof of the plane. Ugh, man, that sucks. Like, so he died like Goose. He died like Goose in Top Gun. Damn. I'm not afraid to fly out. Um, Flying is great. Turbulence does scare the shit out of me. I'm not going to lie about that, but it happens so rarely. And if I understand correctly, it's flying back to the U.S. that is more turbulence, not flying that like to, not flying to Asia, but flying back from Asia. There's more turbulence. I think I could be wrong about that. Evelyn Ivy says, I can make you hungry. Um, okay. I don't know where this is leading, but Miss Neil says, Artel. Artel. This is in Germany? I'm not familiar um, with that. But that sounds like that's close to home for you where that happened. All right, Evelyn, I'm a married man, so that's funny. Besides that, even if I were single, I'm not trying to mess with someone that comes out in my comment section. Even if I was a horny 20-year-old version of myself, I wouldn't do it because I'm not getting catfished. Nope. And in the Me Too era, I'm definitely not. Nope. I'm good. I'm cool over here. I'm straight Andrew Tate right now. Nope, nope. I'm on the furnace says I'm okay, Needle. Thank you. Big love is common here with floods and storms. We're used to it. Yeah, like I said, same thing in the Philippines. It's just you gotta pick places where uh, less likely to flood. Um, Miss Needle says to blame dirty. They still suffer. The only help they got was from neighbors and volunteers all around, but no financial help, etc. They didn't warn the people there, even though they knew it was coming. What is Evelyn on today, guys? She's like, "Do you like juicy fruits?" Nah, not really. I mean, kind of. But again, if that is a sexual, if that's a sexual entendre, I'm good. Thank you, though. I prefer fruit snacks. I think most of you guys have seen me eating my fruit snacks in my live streams. Miss Neil says moonlit. Yeah, I suspect you use it to still look out. Moonlit friend says I don't mind flying. Um, they made an emergency landing in Bangkok. 312 dead, 40 injured. I believe. I think they were flying to or from the Philippines to Malaysia. Don't quote me on that, but it's happening often. So I know about the thing that happened with the Malaysian flight back some years ago, but it's still not common enough to be worried about it just yet. But it's always, you know. Evelyn says, I'm not either. I'm just teasing you, but I bet you want me. Negative. I want my wife. Miss Neal says the chat gone sideways. Right. Like, yeah, like, right? Like, Dirty says, sure did. Moonlit Furnace says, thank you, Miss Nito. Appreciate you. And if you want an American man, there's a huge German community out here, and they attract tons of American expats because their food and restaurants. They have a lot of businesses. See, that I didn't know. I know there's a lot of Russians. I know there's a lot of Russians in Germany. I didn't know there was. I mean, excuse me. I know there's a lot of Russians in Thailand, but I didn't know there was a lot of Germans in Thailand. Moonlit Fern says, Evelyn, please be calm. I can't let you talk to my brother on some wild stuff. My wifey and his wifey gonna get you. Right. You know what I'm saying? These are Southeast Asian women. Like, nah, don't do that. I don't know Evelyn. I don't know what's up with Evelyn. I don't know. She might have saw one of my videos with my shirt off. I don't know. I don't know. um, and Miss Nia says, Moonlight, oh yeah, I've heard of that. And well, I actually met a bunch of American people already. Nothing bad to say right now, and I have other issues to deal with though. Uh-oh. Moonlight Friend says German mafia has tons of bars, restaurants, and even farmland. Just be safe. They got German mafia? Dang. I didn't even know there was a German mafia. That would just sound kind of that would be such a non-threatening. I don't know. Guten Tag. You got that though. I don't know. I don't know. I'm tripping, but yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think I see Germans threatening in other ways, but I've never thought of them in terms of being mobbed up. Emily Francis, tell them these Southeast Asian girls about their life. Play nice. Right, right. Yes, they do. Okay. Miss Neal says we got clan mafia for sure. I see. I'm learning new stuff every day. I did not know there was a German mafia. So yeah, I know to watch out. But I'm genuinely nice to folks anyway when I travel. Like I've never been gotten on the bad side of anyone, unless they were on some criminal stuff from the jump. Like in the Philippines, like someone trying, thinking they can pickpocket me or rob me or something like that. Other than that, I haven't really had issues. Oh, Miss Nia says Arab clans and stuff, especially in Berlin. Oh, okay. Don't want to mess with them. So I remember receiving those debriefings before we went to Germany about, hey, tone it down with like some of the American logos and just being kind of like loud and boisterous because it's going to attract attention. And there is people in Germany who might try to kidnap Americans, especially if they know they're part of the armed forces. So we did get that debriefing, when I traveled to Germany. But like I said, I never really found anything particularly threatening about people there. I didn't meet too many Arabic people. I've met some Turkish people since Turkey is so close to Germany, but I I've never really felt unsafe while I was there. I'm gonna wrap this up in 15 minutes, guys, because it's incredibly hot since our AC unit isn't working. I'm gonna put my fan back on. Right now, I just have the window open, and you guys can see me sweating a bit. um, but yeah, I don't know what's up with Evelyn. Like I said, she might have saw that video when I had like the stomach showing or something. But I assure her and the rest of you, I'm not remotely interested in some sort of catfish situation going on, even if I were single. um, one of the friends says they own the boats and tours on the Mott Islands. Same with the Russians, mostly peaceful and usually give back to the community and poor and stray animals. That's cool. I said I don't mind. Like when I've met Europeans and Australians when I'm in Asia, they've been pretty cool. Like I was worried like when I met them, they were all gonna be like, like the cringy sort of sex pat sort of people, but nah, like a lot of them came as families, and for them, this is their side of the world, so it's actually probably cheaper for them to travel to Asia than it is for Americans since it's closer to them. Uh, Moon Fern says, but anyway, they aren't bad and actually more protective of tourists than not. Okay, that's what's up. Sort of like Yakuza. Like the, it's unfortunate that the Japanese government kind of destroyed the Yakuza in the last 6 years because the Yakuza had rules. There's these new gangs that have risen in places like Tokyo and Osaka in place of Yakuza, but they don't have the same rules and they are dangerous to tourists. Like they will set them up in these little bars and clubs where they scam them for money and they know that the police won't do anything about it. So they can get away with this sort of thing. Plus, they will try to scam people by having these little these little African spear chuckers come in and try to scam like tourists into coming into these bars. And I already know I'm not listening to some African dude in Tokyo tell me to come to some place. I'm like, no. But the Yakuza, like I said, they actually didn't didn't harm like foreigners in Japan. Like they, it was the Yakuza that kept the sumo sport going for like uh centuries really. And they didn't threaten civilians. Like they only have beefs with other Yakuza clans over things dealing with their personal matters, financial matters, whatever. Um, and sometimes they will even be friendly towards tourists. Like I said, these new younger gangs now in Japan, these guys are dangerous. They don't have the rules of Yakuza. So yeah, usually it's been the history. Like Thomas Sowell has mentioned this too, that organized places where there's organized crime are usually the safest places to be. Like wherever the crime boss lives tends to be like the safest places to live in the communities. Only for instance, Russians and Australians do that in Pattaya and Phuket. Okay. He's I avoid both places, right? Moonlit says that's interesting. I mean, excuse me, Miss Needle says Moonlit. That is interesting. Moonlit Friend says yeah, Yakuza for a long time that were beneficial. The younger generation seen too many movies and want to be Sopranos. Yeah, like they're trying to the gangs that are moving up now are reckless, and like I said, they don't mind scamming foreigners. Like there's this scam where they'll bring them in and they have these little bottle girls sit with them and get them to drink, and then they'll bring them the tab, and the tab is like thousands of dollars US, And then when people say I refuse to pay it or I can't pay it, they'll like start threatening them and stuff like that. Then they'll tell them, well, hey, if you go to the police, they can't do anything for you anyway, because we'll tell you that you tried to cheat us out of our money. Like there's like a, um, theft of service or whatever. So it's really some underhanded stuff. So, but yeah, yeah. So guys, I'm about to go. Like I said, I don't know if anyone else had any thoughts on these two biologically male boxers fighting as women in the Olympics boxing competition and beating the crap out of them. Like I said, the last person that the Algerian boxer fought, she hit the other girl so hard that she quit and started crying that she couldn't take it anymore. And again, she's a boxer, so she's used to getting hit and hit hard, but she's not used to being hit by the strength of a full man. like she's not used to that Ike Turner punch. She never had an Ike Turner punch, so she had to give it up. Miss Nita says we have lawless zones too where no police goes into. I can imagine. Emily Fan says, "Yep, no code. That's what happened with the GDs and BDs and vice lords in Chicago. Can I email you? Yeah, my email's in my description, so I you can email me at that. Mullen versus Ike Turner. No, I mean that's the best way I can describe it. She hit the other boxer with a clean right cross, and it rocked her so hard she literally quit. Like the match only lasted 46 seconds. She said I couldn't take it. She said I've never been hit that hard in my life. She said I literally can't take it, and she cried and she forfeited the match. And that's how all this blew up in the news. People were like, "Yo, this is outrageous. This is a dude beating up a woman." And like I said, you look at Imani Sharif, she looks like the actor who plays Xerxes. Like put some bronze, put some bronze on, like shave the head, bronze, put some bronze on, and put the little gold piercings in the face. Literally looks like freaking Xerxes. But yeah, you can email me. It's in my description, but it's Aman at terpalum.umd.edu. I think that's the email I have in the description. If, if not, it's the Gmail, but either one is fine. Um, but yeah, Miss Nita. So what zones are you saying we shouldn't go to in Germany? Oh, just I just reconnected. Sorry about that. Like I know there's some places in Berlin not to go. Like I think like places in East Berlin are like pretty bad. I've heard that. You say well not Berlin, haha, but Berlin is like where all tourists go. Yeah, like I said, I've heard East Berlin is unsafe, but this is like 25 years ago, so I'm not even sure now. Um, but like I said, I was in places like Mannheim, Heidelberg, Frankfurt. I know you said Frankfurt isn't safe that much anymore as well. Didn't really hang out in Frankfurt. I said I've been here a couple of times. Nothing happened. So just have your head on a swivel. I swear you talk like an American. Like this is why I did not know you were German because you sound like an American. I'm not saying anyone's name, my friend. If you want me to say your name, you can drop it in the super chat. I don't do those things for free. And also, you're not going to catch me saying something inappropriate that doesn't work. Try that on people of your own generation who are stupid enough to fall for that. Miss Nina says, "Haha, Americanized." No, lots of them. That's why. Well, yeah. When I went there, most of the younger people were Americanized, so I'm not surprised. Like I said, we went there. It was like that one club. It was like hip hop night, and I could have swore like all the music they were playing on hip hop night. It would have been like me and DC. Like it felt like I was in DC on hip hop night. Like the DJ was spinning like this. It was probably an American DJ, I think. But the music they were spinning and the way the person was able to blend and mix, like it felt like I was in DC. But I I still can't remember the name of the city we used to always hang out in, and I can't look it up while I'm on the live. I think it started with an L. I can't remember it. I'm sorry. I just have to look it up. This is the second day I said I would remember that name, but I can't. Probably this is probably a good time to leave off anyway because Moonlit Fern is doing some good stuff right now with his neighbors. This dude is on some pervy stuff. I'm gonna just time him out. All right, Miss Nito, you have a good. I think you're like 8 hours ahead of us, so it's morning time for you. I'm guessing, right? Like 9, 10 a.m. It's Mrs. Contrarian's birthday today, guys. Um, I don't think she's moderating, but just in case, like I'm not gonna say what I did for her. I'm gonna tell you guys tomorrow what I did for her. Some of you already know. I said it earlier this week, but I told her I was going live before I got on, so I don't want to risk it because I don't want to spoil the thing that I told everyone else not to spoil. I'll tell her. Thank you. Appreciate it. She has no idea this is happening though. So I I hope like there's pictures and videos or so. I'm definitely going to post it in my community tabs. And if there's a video, I'll actually like upload that as well. But I know someone's going to at least take some pictures, and I'm gonna put that in my community tabs for you guys to see. I want to see her expression. So that's gonna be fun. But thanks, Miss Needle. Um, Oh, and Moonlit Fern, if you're still there, like I said, email me at the email in my description. You can reach me there. I'll check it out. Okay. But guys, that's it for me. I'll give it a minute in case anyone had any was typing like some last minute comment or question or anything like that. So, but yeah, if Miss Nito's really bothering me, I can't remember the city because I really like that city where I was. It was it wasn't like a big city, but it was cool. Like it had a good vibe, right? And like I said, we could ride in right from there from where we were. It wasn't Leipzig. But I'm I'm gonna get off. So before I go to bed, I'm actually gonna look that up so I can tell you when I get back on what city it is, and you can tell me whether it's a good city or not, and whether I should go back with Mrs. Contrarian. All right, no, I definitely will. I'm gonna look it up because it's bothering me now that I can't remember the name of it. Like something bird? No, I can't. Yeah, I'll look it up. But all right, I'm gone. I need to put this fan on. It's burning up. If you can't tell how hot I am right here, I'm sweating. It's like 88 degrees in the house, like Fahrenheit. But all right, guys, I'll talk to all of you tomorrow. I'm gonna give you the updates. I think tomorrow's stream will either be about the birthday party or we'll see. So, all right. Oh, I shouldn't have said that, but I don't think she's on. All right, but all right, guys, I'll talk to y'all later. Thank you, and by all means, keep watching the Olympics. And again, I'm not saying the intersex people can't compete in professional sports. What I'm saying is they should either compete in a third division, which is just for non-binary third gender people, or these trans, intersex, non-binary, and third gender people should compete in the events to which they are their biological classification. Either of those are fine, but them using their male advantage over biological females, I find very problematic. So that's all I had to say. Um, and thank you for all the people. I see you too, bro. um, if anyone, if anyone wants to, they can catch this up on the upload so you can see it from the beginning. All right. Thanks, guys. Take it easy.